overview of Microeconomics Unit 2. Now Unit 2 is called Supply and Demand, usually Supply and Demand and Consumer Choice. You're going to start off with understanding the idea of what is demand and then what shifts the demand curve. Don't forget to learn the idea of the difference between a change in demand and a change in quantity demanded. It's super important. You'll learn it. And you move from there over to supply and producing stuff. Right? You'll talk about what's supply, you'll talk about what actually shifts the supply. You get them together, and eventually you'll come up with something called equilibrium, which will talk about equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. From there you'll talk about shortage, you'll talk about surplus, you'll talk about taxes and subsidies, ceilings and floors, and when the government gets involved. You'll also talk about something called consumer and producer surplus, which isn't actually difficult. It's actually kind of easy, but you need to understand supply and demand to get it. From there you usually go straight into something called elasticity, that talks about the slope of the demand or the supply curve. Right? And if the price goes up for something, do people buy a little bit less or do people buy a whole lot less? Right? It depends on the product. Right? And that's called something called elasticity. From there you usually jump into something called consumer choice, which looks at the margin utility of making different decisions. And you calculate the additional satisfaction, the margin utility you get, and you decide which thing you do. It's called consumer choice. It's the most important unit, so you need to pay attention to this one because you're going to need this stuff for the future units. All right, so good luck on it. Till next time.